Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Mariah, and today I have a low back release routine for you today that utilizes the bender ball. So we're going to do a little bit of Pilates, a little bit of yoga, but incorporating the bender ball, which we use in barre classes. So the bender ball is famous for being kind of a tough love type of tool, but today we're going to use it for something that feels really yummy. If this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like free Pilates, barre, and yoga workouts. I bring them every week, and let's get started. We're actually going to start today on our belly, coming all the way down onto the mat and taking that ball in front of you. So from here, we're going to extend the arms long, placing the tops of the hands on the ball, and then pressing your hands into the ball, starting to lift your chest up off the mat, taking a peek at the wall in front of you, and then gently lower down. Exhale and lift, and inhale, lower down. Now, because our emphasis is a little bit more today on releasing the back than on strengthening the back, you can put as much weight as you feel comfortable putting into this ball to help assist you with that opening of the back. So finding some extension in the back. Your exhales will lift you, and your inhales will release back down. Few more. Nice. Taking your hands off that ball, we're going to take the hips back towards child's pose, but we're going to utilize the ball. So I'd like you to experiment a little bit and take this ball as a prop with you, either underneath your chest or underneath your belly. So see which one feels the most supportive. You want to feel like you have a little bit of buoyancy under you to help prop you up. This should feel really relaxing. Here, taking forehead down to the ground, fingertips forward, allowing those hips to sink down towards your heels. And if you're feeling very tight and your hips are not going anywhere near your heels, you could even take that ball and instead of placing it underneath your belly, you could try placing it underneath your bottom between your hamstrings and your calf muscles, and that might feel the most supportive to you. So we'll be here for several breaths, so find whichever version of support feels most comfortable to you with the utilization of that ball as a prop. And then lengthening that breath, imagining that spine growing longer. Tractioning out the vertebrae, creating more space between each disc. Notice if you're gripping in the muscles around your hips, and see if you can just let go. Taking a few more breaths. And then gently pressing yourself up. From here, we're going to swing our legs out in front of us, holding onto that ball. We're going to lie down onto our back, coming up into a supported bridge position. So it's important, you might want to watch me for a second. It's important where you place the ball along the spine. It's going to be a little bit lower than you might think. So we want to avoid putting it directly on the arch, so it's actually going to be a little bit lower than the arch of the back onto the tailbone. So it should feel pretty comfortable. And then from there, just allow the arms to come out to the sides of the shoulders like the shape of the capital letter T. This is going to help you feel a little bit more balanced so that you can really release here. From here, we're going to invite some small movements. Now, I really want the focus of this to be on releasing the back and not on engaging the abdominals. So we're going to be alternating taking the legs in a tabletop position, but I don't want the legs to come up very high. Normally a tabletop, you would take the shins to parallel, and if you can do that without having too much muscle engagement going on in the belly, great. But the most important thing here is just to find a little bit of movement in the low back while it's in a relaxed state. It's almost like you're just massaging that low back by moving the musculature around that sacrum. Continuing that deep, steady breath. Nice. Now let's take both legs all the way up to the ceiling. So your hips are still lifted on this fender ball. And you're gonna point the toes and take the legs out to the side. So open them up into a straddle and then flex the feet as you return the legs together. So we'll point and open, flex and return. So this is releasing the area in the hips, which if those are tight can create more tension and create unnatural tilt to the pelvis. So just opening up as far as it's comfortable for you. This is a dynamic stretch, meaning the body keeps staying in that fluid, flowing motion. And then we start to move into our leg circles. So just trying to stay steady. So again, we don't want to feel like we have to really engage the abdominals too much here to keep us steady. So that will dictate how wide our circles are based on how quiet we want to keep the abdominal muscles. Plenty of other workouts on this channel for working strength in the abdominals and low back. This is not one of them, so just enjoy this release. It's also very, very important. And then let's reverse directions of those circles. Continuing to fuel the movement with your breath. And then taking both legs now and pointing them up to the sky, let's just point and flex the feet, releasing the muscles in the hamstrings and the calves. If these are tight, this can also tug on the low back. It can feel really rejuvenative as well for those legs to be in this inversion. It can help traction out the spine. And then let's move the feet in little circles. So legs stay still, but we're rolling ankles outward. And then reverse direction of those circles. Good, bending into the knees, and we'll return one foot at a time down onto the ground, holding our static bridge. So we're going to be moving into some static holds here where relaxation is the ultimate goal. And I'm going to give you different layers. So depending on how tight your low back is, this static bridge that we're doing right here, this supported bridge, may be where you want to stay for the rest of the practice. But I will give a few more options to layer on. But just know that this And now you're welcome to stay here, or if you'd like just a little bit more elongation of that low back, then I invite you to take the legs completely long along the mat, still feeling those hips lifted and supported, tractioning out the vertebrae. Your only job here is to simply be and heal. It's an important job, but because it's passive, sometimes, especially in our modern society, we feel like that job doesn't feel as important as the active jobs that we have. But in many ways, it's even more important because it's often the element in our life that is missing. Feeling every supporting structure in that back recover from overuse, from underuse. Both can be detrimental to the health of our back, so we find our recovery here. Give our body the space that it needs to heal itself. And then very carefully start to bend into the knees, taking the soles of the feet to the ground. Gently lifting the hips up, just a touch of strength in order to take that ball out from underneath the hips. Gently lowering the hips in slow motion. Giving yourself a little hug now. Let's draw the knees towards the chest as we send the tailbone long. So we keep that tailbone long, creating even more length along the back. And then drawing little circles with the knees in one direction, then the other. Working out any kinks that might still be lingering in the low back. Now I'm going to roll over to one side as you press yourself up into a seated position. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. I really hope your back is feeling a little bit better. And again, don't forget to subscribe. If you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And I can't wait to see you next time.